Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to Coffee with the Principal. This is the first Coffee with the Principal after the start of the new school year here at Katherine Johnson STEM Academy. Thanks so much for taking the time to join. For those of you who are returning, you'll know that I will do these Coffees with the Principal every single week. And this will be one of the quickest ways for me to communicate with our families, but also for you to get updates, ask questions. I'll do it weekly on Zoom because Zoom is convenient. But what I am considering doing is perhaps once a month doing these in person. So stay tuned for more information about that. But again, thank you so much all for being here today. So a couple of logistical pieces, particularly if you're a new family and new to these Coffees with the Principal. When you join the Zoom meeting, you join muted. Feel free to use the chat box as needed. We are recording the meeting, and the reason we do that is so that families who aren't able to attend live are able to see a recording of the meeting afterwards when they are able to do that. We encourage you to leave your video on, but you certainly do not have to. And then there will always be a time at the end for Q&A, a live Q&A with myself, the principal. And when we get there, feel free to use the raise hand button or use the chat box as needed at that time. And then when you're called on, go ahead and unmute and ask your question. So where can you find these archives of the Coffees with the Principal? Well, Katherine Johnson STEM Academy has a YouTube channel. And if you search for us on YouTube, Katherine Johnson STEM Academy, you'll see our YouTube channel. And I would encourage you to subscribe and also to click that notification button so you can always know when we post new videos, including these Coffees with the Principal. It's better to attend live because then you can ask your questions. So again, so glad you're here. This week we launched our school year. We are so proud of all our students who came back to school, our new 6th grade students who joined us here at campus. We try to make the environment as festive as possible. We're in the middle of a paint job, so that was a little bit challenging this week, but thank you for your patience as we did that. We were so excited to welcome kids. I saw smiles. I saw normal middle school nerves and jitters, but this week students have been making friends, meeting their teachers, learning names, and I'm very, very proud of our students. And again, we're so glad to be starting a brand new school year here at Katherine Johnson STEM Academy. I'm also super excited about our team of teachers who is dedicating their profession to helping our learners become 21st century problem solvers with great hearts and great minds. This is all our teaching team. Our whole teaching team is here in this photograph, as well as some other folks who support our students. And so in the coming days and weeks, you'll be getting to know them. They'll be communicating with you their course syllabus, their expectations with their students, how to communicate with them. These are wonderful, wonderful individuals and wonderfully professional people who will reach out to you and who will help you with questions that you may have as we move forward. Okay. So a couple logistical announcements and then, some other things, and then we'll move into Q&A. So as you very likely know, we're in the middle of our new paint job. Thank you so much for your patience on that. It'll be nice. It'll be beige exteriors with a nice Kelly green trim on all of that. And right now, all the buildings are marshmallow white, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So thank you for your patience as we move forward in the painting project. Another project that I guarantee you've seen is the construction project that's going on right outside our gate. That's being done by the city of LA. And this is actually, I can say this for sure, this is actually the result of a Coffee with the Principal that we had last spring. Because here's what they're building. They're actually building a crosswalk that's going to exist from the west side of Park Hill Drive to the east side of Park Hill, crossing that street right there, and that will help with traffic and help students in terms of safety. Last spring, we had a parent on one of these calls ask, hey, is it possible to get a crossing guard there? And so I reached out and said, hey, let me see if we can do that. We contacted the city. City says, well, in order to get a crossing guard, you need a crosswalk. And in order to get a crosswalk, you need that sidewalk to be ADA compliant. And so they said, we'll start that process. So good news, they're building that crosswalk. Bad news is they decided to start on it on the first day of school. So that is what's going on. My hope is that the majority of that will be done by early next week, so that that sidewalk at least is accessible. So that sidewalk, the goal is that be accessible both directions, and then eventually there'll be a crosswalk there and eventually a crossing guard. All right, just a reminder for families that all meals in LA Unified are free this year for all students, regardless of income. So your child can eat breakfast, your child can eat lunch here at Katherine Johnson every day, regardless of income. However, we are requesting your help. So every year, the district and LAUSD asks parents to complete the the lunch application form. And believe it or not, Katherine Johnson STEM Academy actually gets funding based on the number of applications that we receive. And it's about, there's a level based on the income that's stated in those forms, but there's also a level based on the number that we receive. So I'm asking for your help. If you could take 10 minutes and go to myschoolapps.com and fill out an application. Even if you know that your family does not qualify for free or reduced lunch, please take a little bit of time and fill that out. That helps the school with funding. Students have been doing a great job with their uniforms this week. There's a few students we've had to remind to be in the correct school uniform. Just as a reminder, no Crocs or open-toed shoes. That's a safety thing. And then also on Fridays, optionally, every Friday of the year, students can wear a college t-shirt or college sweatshirt. I saw a student wearing UCLA this morning. I saw a student wearing Charles Drew University. I saw, what else? I saw LMU. So again, you can wear the uniform on Friday, but if you'd like to wear a college shirt top, you may do so every single Friday of the year. So that's the goal. Again, Fridays, you may wear a college top as part of the uniform. Pants are regular. One question I've gotten a couple times from families is, I submitted an order online for my child's PE uniform, but they haven't gotten it yet because the financial manager's there only on Tuesdays. So if you've done the PE uniform order already, what I'm going to recommend is, from that order form, you have like a piece of paper. Make sure your child brings that piece of paper to school with them starting next week. That way our PE teacher will know, yes, they put in order for the PE uniform. They just haven't gotten it yet because our financial manager is there. Our student store person is there only on Tuesdays. So they should pick up their PE uniform on Tuesdays. But if they're worried about, am I going to get marked down in PE class if I have PE on Monday and I don't have my uniform, just bring that little piece of paper that you completed online, that printout that says, yep, I did in fact order it. All right. Our students have been doing a good job so far with being a phoneless campus. Our students have been checking in their phones on the vaults or not bringing them at all. I did have our first student who got caught with a cell phone, and like I said, it was going to happen. It would happen, I think, on Tuesday. We put that student's cell phone in a separate vault like this and put a padlock on it and put a timer to beep at like 2 o'clock today. And so that student will get their phone back on today because it's Friday. So please have your student leave it at home. But if they do bring it to school because they need it for the after school program, that's fine. Just make sure they check it and we keep it in our locked vault when students come in. So yeah, great job, folks, on that so far. And that's the picture of that. This is very exciting. So LAUSD has partnered with tutor.com, which is usually a paid online tutoring service, a one-on-one tutoring service for students. Usually, it costs money. And LAUSD this year is making this available for free for all students. So we really encourage your child early on this year to go to tutor.com/LAUSD. They'll log in through their Schoology account, and they'll be able to access one-on-one homework help and tutoring. So this is a really powerful resource that kids never had before, but now every kid has it for free. So definitely please bookmark that link. Talk about it this weekend with your child, so we can start the academic year on a good note in terms of academic success. All right, Beyond the Bell has started. We have the after-school program for free for all students. It is Mondays through Thursdays from 3:46 until 6 p.m., right after school up until 6 p.m. You're doing a good job of picking up your kids through the 91st Street gate. You just drive down to 91st Street, turn right at the end, and then up 91st Street gate up through 6 o'clock. We also have Beyond the Bell on Fridays. We have early dismissal on Fridays at 2:17, so Beyond the Bell starts right at 2:17. Now, there's a very, very important thing you got to know about Beyond the Bell on Fridays, and that is this. So we share the campus with Westchester High School, and they have their early dismissal on Tuesdays. So they have the high school has their regular 3:30 dismissal on Fridays. And what that means is Friday is the only day of the week where Katherine Johnson STEM Academy lets out before Westchester High School. And so what that means is on Fridays, if your student is just walking home or getting picked up, it's no problem. 2:17, please be there. But on Fridays, if you're having your student do the Beyond the Bell program, it means you're not going to be able to pick them up before 3:30. So you can pick them up, beginning at 3:30 or after 3:30, but from 2:17 to 3:30, if they're part of the Beyond the Bell, they're not going to be able to be picked up because the campus is still locked, because high school is still happening, and that happens until 3:30. Like I said, if you're able to pick them up after 3:30, no problem. If you can't pick them up after 3:30, then they'll just have to leave campus at 2:17. Yeah, I don't have a better solution than that, but that is the one day of the week regarding Beyond the Bell timings, and you just got to be aware of that. I see there's a hand in the that's being raised. I've got a couple more slides, and then I'm going to come back to the question. All right, a couple of COVID updates. One of them is you can always see the COVID status of any school at the following website, achieve.lausd.net/COVID report card. And what I try to do every Friday is just to take a snapshot of this and show you live. So right now we have 0 active COVID cases, none among staff and students, no cases on school-based transmission. That's a very good thing. Yeah, so you can check this out anytime you want to. As a reminder, weekly COVID testing on campus is no longer happening. Now, something's going to happen today, and I want families to know that it's just happening today. It's not happening every week. During the first week of school this week, the district, including us, is also providing each student with a COVID rapid test to take home with them. And so today, during 8th period, right before 2 o'clock, your child's 8th period teacher will give them a COVID antigen test to take home. Looks just like this. That's actually my hand in that picture. We're not distributing these weekly. We are just distributing them the first week of school. So it's just happening today. Couple questions that folks may ask. Are students required to take a COVID test today or this weekend? The answer to that is no. They're not required to do that. However, if at any point students experience symptoms of COVID, they should take a COVID test. If for any reason you do have your child take a COVID test and it tests negative, what do you do? The answer is if it's a negative, if your child ever takes a COVID test and it's negative, you don't have to do anything. Just come to school as normal. If they do take a COVID test and it comes out positive, what do you do? Well, two things. One is stay home from school on Monday. And then 2 is upload a photo of that COVID test to the Daily Pass. And if you're new to LA Unified, that step may be a little different for you. So if that ever happens, just call our office and we can walk you through the steps you need to take to, create your Daily Pass account, but also to upload that positive result. Again, if it's negative, you don't need to do anything. If it's positive, upload it to the Daily Pass and stay home. Students are not required to test, but we are going to give them this today, not every week, just today. So thank you for all your patience during all those announcements. And now perfect timing. It's about 9:15. So at this time, what I'm going to do is I am going to shift it into our Q&A. I see someone in the participant list with their hand raised, so I'll call on them first. And then I always put this to remind myself. We always encourage families who want to share their experience with Katherine Johnson STEM Academy with other like-minded families who are also looking for a small STEM school. So there's a website that lots of families use called Great Schools, and that link right there I've put in the chat is a link directly to it. So if you have just a couple minutes and you want to leave a review, you can absolutely do that. If you're like, I'm brand new, I don't have any opinions yet, totally fine. I get it. All right, cool. I'm going to stop the share. And I see a question from, there's iPhone who I'm going to call on. And then there's a question in the chat from Nicole. And then there's a hand from Leslie Parker. So let's start with iPhone. Go ahead and, there you go.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, what do you guys do in the after-school program? Like, what do they do?
Sure, great question. So it's generally just a place where they're supervised. The Beyond the Bell coach supervises the students. Students can work on homework. It's not really direct tutoring. When space allows, he'll take them out on the field and they can run around the field, throw a football, throw a frisbee, in that sort of way. They get a snack as part of the after school program. A lot of kids, I'll be honest with you, what a lot of kids end up doing during the after school program is they open up their Chromebook and they will play games on it because 12-year-old kids and they like to play games, or they use their cell phone to do those games and activities as well, because they've been without their cell phones all day long. So those are some of the things that happen during the after school program. For tutoring, if you're interested in tutoring, I would absolutely recommend this link I'm going to put in the chat, tutor.com/LAUSD, and that's something that they can work on. So great question. Is that Rose?
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you. Great question, Rose. Thank you so much. All right. There was a question in the chat, and then I'll go to Leslie next. So from Nicole, great question. Haven't seen anything yet. Will ClassDojo be shared? Yes. And yes, it will be for all teachers. All teachers will have it. Our counselor will have it. I'll have it. And you will have it too. So our counselor, if you haven't met Ms. Guith, she was out for the first couple of days. She's back now. She's working on setting that up. My goal is that is set up and ready to go early or mid next week. So yeah, everybody gets ClassDojo and all the teachers are on it. So great question. We love ClassDojo. I get the sense that you've done ClassDojo before. Oh no, it's brand new. Okay.
I remember you saying something about it before, and so I just want to make sure that I'm up on all systems and all of that stuff. Yeah.
You got it. Great.
Thank you.
Great question. It with the launch of the school year, we got all the systems. It just takes a minute to get everybody in there. And also we have a couple new teachers who it's taken a while to get their LAUSD accounts up and running and connected. So thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. All right. There's a question from Leslie, and then there's a question from Alvina in the chat. So Leslie, can you unmute?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Hunsberger. I actually have two questions.
Oh, go for it.
Okay, so question number one is, my understanding is that the food choices or the menu choices are limited for Katherine Johnson. Like, we're not getting the full LAUSD menu, I think. Is there a way to know what item you're gonna get for lunch? Because that would help with sort of planning whether to send lunch from home or whether to.
Sure. So that was a two-part question. Let me tackle both of them.
Okay.
One is, to my knowledge, everything that LAUSD is serving is served at Katherine Johnson. So my understanding is that it's the same. If that's not correct, shoot me an email, and I'll also put the contact information of our cafeteria manager here as well. So that's the first part, and I'll put his email here. His name is Daryl Graves, and he is the cafeteria manager. Sorry, I'm typing as I spell this. Manager. Okay, there we go. And also, here's a link to Cafe LA, achieve.lausd.net/Cafe LA, and on there is a calendar of what should be served, so that will be helpful in planning. And what was your second question?
Second question is, when will we get a sense of sort of where our children are academically, like how they're doing? What are we dealing with at the beginning of the year?
Great question. So it's the first week of school. So this year, our teachers have been really focused on, classroom culture building, setting the expectations, meeting each other, connecting with that. As we start instruction next week, part of what's going to be happening is teachers are going to be giving diagnostic assessments just to get a sense as to where students are. And the purpose of that is twofold. One is to inform the teacher to know where their students are coming in with that, so they can know how to meet their needs. Also, it informs our counselor, who's going to look at that information and make any scheduling adjustments that are necessary based on that. The other piece I would say to that is that if your child participated in the Smarter Balance testing last spring, at their school, which they should have if they were an LAUSD fifth grader or a returning student from us, your school should have access to their results from that. So if you are on this call and you're a returning you've got a returning seventh grader or an eighth grader, and you're like, I didn't get my child's Smarter Balance scores yet. If you're a returning seventh or eighth grader, reach out to me and I can send that to you. If you're a new sixth grader and they took them in fifth grade, I actually don't have access to them, but your child's previous school should have access to that. And then the second part of the answer to that question actually answers, well, actually, no, it doesn't. So hopefully that answered that question. Leslie, did I answer your question?
Mostly, but then when do we know? So when does a parent get contacted and when do we know?
Awesome. So in terms of like students' progress, so there's a couple things. One is every 5 weeks you will get a report card in the mail. However, please know that by the time you get that report card in the mail, it's like reading an old newspaper, because it's the teacher has captured those grades, and then there's the deadline, and then they get printed, and then we give them to the United States Postal Service, and then at some point in the future, you will get those. There is a faster way. The LAUSD has an online learning platform called Schoology, and you all have access to it, and all our teachers are on it, and blah, blah, blah. All our teachers are on it, and all our students are on it, and it is where all the assignments are posted and all of the grades are posted. If you are, and that is live, you have access to that instantly. If you give me a second, let's see. If you're a returning LAUSD student, it's the same as before. If you are new to LAUSD, you have to create an account, connect it with your student. I just put a link in the chat with the webpage as to how to do that. It is a little, I apologize. getting connected for the first time in Schoology is like jumping through hoops that are on fire, that are being juggled by, I don't know, a monster with 7 hands. Once you get through, it's easy. And there's an app and you get notifications. So if you need any help, navigate that steps through the parent portal. And then if you get stuck and you really need any help, please, don't hesitate to call our office and we can help you through that. Great question. Okay, there are some questions in the chat. I want to make sure I answer. So going back to Alvina, when do we plan to have back to school night? Great question. Our plan for back to school night is going to be, I'm going to write it in the chat. Back to school night is going to be Thursday, September 8th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. On site here on campus. No Zoom back to schools anymore here on campus. So save the date on that. We'll also push that out on ClassDojo once we get that going. That's a great question, Alvina. Let me keep scrolling down the chat. Can we access the scores through Schoology from Laura? You can't. I think what your question is can we access the smarter balanced scores from Schoology? And I'm pretty sure the answer to that question is no. I think the only things on Schoology are going to be your child's current courses and their current scores and assignments on those. Laura, did I answer that question?
Yes, you did.
Okay. All right, cool. All
so
right.
if we want those scores, I'm sorry, we should just email you.
If your child was with us, was a Katherine Johnson STEM Academy. Oh, Laura, hi, how are you?
Yes. Good. How are you? Yes.
Email me and I'll send it to you.
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
Thank
you so much. All right. Next question from Alexis. Will NWEA be used to measure students' readiness? We don't use NWEA. What we're going to be using is a platform and a program called Renaissance, which has 2 parts of it. It's called Star Reading and Star Math. If you were with us in, what do you call it? If you were with a 5th grade elementary school, they did something called Dibbles. This is similar to that, but this is a different platform entirely. And the nice thing about Renaissance is it gives you as a parent where they are in terms of readiness, but it also breaks down in terms of exactly what specific standards and what specific academic pieces your child has strengths in, and what your child needs to work in. So great question, Alexis. All right. Do students need an emergency preparedness pack? So great question. Do students need an emergency preparedness pack? Water, snacks, space blanket, etc. They don't. They're not required to have them in terms of individual students. We do have shared emergency supplies that we share every year with us and with Westchester. We also do drills. Oh, I forgot to say this. We also do drills monthly. We did our first fire drill Wednesday of this week. So we did our very first fire drill on Wednesday. Westchester sent me an email on Tuesday, said, hey, let's do a drill tomorrow. I said, perfect, let's do it. So all the schools here did our first fire drill on Wednesday. It was very successful. We were out and evacuated in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So they did a really good job with that. We're also starting we had an informal safety committee last year. We are starting a formal safety committee this year. I see one parent on here who I know will be on that safety committee, and you know who you are. But if there's another parent who wants to be on that safety committee, please reach out to me and let me know, because we'd love to include you in that as well. All right, let's keep on seeing what's in the chat. How will Katherine Johnson STEM Academy prepare 8th grade students for A through G college readiness? Great question. So a couple of things. One is the rigorous nature of our courses, which are aligned with the California Common Core standards, which are aligned to the A through G college readiness requirements. So that's number one. Number two, we are using frequent formative assessments to understand where our students are at continually, so that we can be nimble and provide extra academic tutoring, extra academic support make those in classroom adjustments to students who need them, provide acceleration opportunities for students who can benefit from them as well. We do have a college and career coach. Part of Ms. Guith's role, our counselor, is a college and career coach as well. So she works with students in terms of creating individual, what they call them in middle school is individual graduation plans, or IGPs, which is she meets one-on-one with every single student each semester and sits with them, looks at scores, looks at data, sets goals with them, and then tracks those, semester by semester, so we can make sure that all students are individually on track in that way. We also have lots of committees, one in particular called the Student Success and Progress Team, SSPT, all these acronyms, Student Success and Progress Team, that looks at the data as a whole, and then based on how individual students are performing academically, we make recommendations and individualized supports for those particular students. So there's lots of ways, and I could get on a soapbox for a long time about that question. I love that question, but thank you so much. All right, will we get a roster of teacher contact info? What's the best way to reach out to a teacher if we need to? Great question. So a couple of things, a couple ways. One, once you are on Schoology, you will have access, and connected to your student, you will have access to your child's courses. And because you have access to your child's courses, you'll also have access to those courses' teachers. And you can do something called sending a message on Schoology. And you can send a message on Schoology. The teacher will get like an email and a notification that says, "Oh, I got a question from so-and-so's parent." That's one way. Another way, and honestly, most teachers are like prefer the ClassDojo method. Once everyone's on ClassDojo is super easy. You can just send a message real quick and it goes to them directly. And then also third, there's a page on our website that I apologize, I've not updated yet, but we'll have the email addresses of all our team members, so that families can see. One of the things that I know that parents are really helpful about is knowing kind of what our school expectation is in terms of response. So I give all of our teachers, I say to all our teachers, please make sure you get back to parents within 2 school days. So within 2 school days, please make sure you respond back to the parents so that they've heard something. Because there's, because this is secondary, so it's not, it's not just a single class. It's, every teacher, especially our 7th and 8th grade teachers, have got, close to 80 students. So please be flexible with their response times. If it goes like past 2 school days and you haven't heard anything back, reach out to me on that, forward me the message, and I can definitely nudge. Great question. Let's see. Next question. If our child is new to LAUSD, will the test scores from their old school be transferred? That's a great question. It depends on what test scores those are. So if the child was in California and took the same Smarter Balance tests that kids in LA Unified did, then they should automatically transfer. Or actually, no, they won't automatically transfer. You know what I realized? Here's the answer to this question. If your child, we didn't necessarily ask for test scores when you enrolled your child. If you're from outside of LAUSD, we didn't ask for test scores when you enrolled your child. And so if you're from outside of LAUSD, we don't have those. So if you can send our office manager, Mr. Medellin, I just put his email in there, information about student test scores that you have from previous school, send those to him and he can put that into our system. And then we'll also put whatever documents you send into that student's cumulative file as well. If the student is coming from out of state or has different tests and there's not necessarily, a field within our student information system that those tests necessarily align with, then what we'll do is we'll keep whatever you send us. We'll take a look at that, and it'll be just like an attachment to the student record, even if it won't land directly in the spot that says, here's what this student got in 5th grade math on SBAC, if the student's coming from another state and didn't take SBAC. So hopefully, I'm not sure if that answered that question or not. I saw a thumbs up from you. So, oh, I know who that is. Got it. All right. Great question. All right. So there's another question in the chat that says, how can we get a child into the honors program at Katherine Johnson STEM Academy? Great question. So, couple things. Number one, Miss Guith is our counselor, and she makes initial determinations about courses based on academic record, based on what's in MISIS already. If your child is new to the district, or if your child is new to the district and there's not an official designation of gifted and talented education or not, then what you want to do is you want to email our counselor, whose email I'm putting in the chat right now, shalini.guith1@lausd.net, with those specific any documentation that you have that can help her make a best determination of academic placement. If your child has been at Katherine Johnson STEM Academy, maybe they were a 6th grader in the Gen Ed program, and now they're a 7th grader, and you think they may be ready for honors. Again, same sort of thing. What you want to do is you want to send Ms. Guith any documentation that you have on that student's academic performance. The one other thing I will say is this. Because we're small, we're able to be nimble, which is nice. And so what that means is literally every single semester, at the end of every semester, we're reevaluating where our students are and seeing what they need. So if there are students who were just in our general education program in December, and it turns out that in that program they excelled and succeeded and might be ready for honors courses, we can make that switch for the 2nd semester. Flip side, if we have students who are enrolled in honors courses and are really struggling in those courses in the fall semester, it may be that we make a determination to switch that student into our gen ed education program, where they can get more of the scaffolding and more of the support that they need. So the nice thing about being small is that we can be very data-based, and then that we can be nimble on a semester by semester basis. So that is a great question as well. All right. We're a little bit over time. I usually only go to 9:30 on these, but as long as there are some questions, I'll take them. But I want to be respectful of your time as well. For those of you who don't know me yet, I usually just leave a little bit of awkward silence at the end. And when I get a little bit of awkward silence, then I know that we're done. Laura,
Okay,
did you have a question?
Yes, just a quick question,
Yeah.
and it's a little child specific, but as a former educator, I know you ask the questions maybe other people don't want to ask. So this is Peyton's 2nd year.
Okay.
She is uber shy.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a normal middle school age student.
Right. And two friends actually that she had last year actually moved away and aren't at Katherine Johnson anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And she has spent maybe 3 days in the bathroom for lunch because she's just that shy. She had one girl who was, kind of talking to her, and then she said she went to make other friends. She didn't want to be her friend anymore. So my question is, do you guys do like sort of community building, or like
Yes.
big sister, big brother kind of thing?
Yeah, it's not necessarily big sister, big brother, but that's really what was happening a lot of the times this week. But as we continue to build it, the other place that's happening is an advisory. We have advisory 4 days a week at the end of every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it's just half an hour of community building. So what you shared about the student is the reality is that is a quite common experience, particularly in middle school, particularly during particular grade levels. the good news is that in my 19 years of experience working in middle school, that tends to resolve itself very, very quickly. Your daughter will meet other people. She will meet other students in her grade level, but also in other grade levels. And the other thing is that two of the people that she can continue to have advocate for her are her former teachers she had last year, who she doesn't have anymore, because she's not in that grade level.
Right.
They are really good at helping, former students connect and build relationships with other peer groups.
Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Great question. I see a hand from RF. So RF, go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much. First of all, I wanted to tell you, I really like this. I'm not used to this, being able to chat and ask questions, and usually don't really, you talk to the principal maybe hi and bye, or if there's an issue, you usually talk to him. So first of all, I like this. So this is our first time here. My daughter's in 6th grade, so this is new for her. But I do have one question. When it came to two things, I know you did discuss that we'll get like some kind of syllabus and things like that coming up soon from the teachers.
Yes.
Because, I love my daughter, but I know sometimes she does not tell me when everything is due. So I'm trying this year to be better.
Kids aren't like that. What?
Yeah, so I'm trying to be better and put stuff on the calendar so I can be aware things are getting done.
Absolutely.
And then the next thing is that test scores. When I saw on grade schools, the scores weren't as high.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, was it impacted because of, did people get to elect to take tests, or how did that work?
Yeah.
Because I've heard so many great things about the schools, but I was just concerned about the test scores.
Absolutely. Got it. A couple of things. One of the things is nationwide, we saw massive drops when it came to test scores, particularly when the pandemic hit. So that was part of it. The second piece is that, at the end of the day, we try to get as many students to test as possible. And the state of California actually penalizes schools that don't have 95% of their students test. And we think it's valuable because it helps teachers make better decisions about how to educate our students. It informs the school as to, like, how well are we doing? It also informs parents as to, like, what additional supports they need. So those are all factors in that. It's something that we look at. We also look at, growth that we're making among students. So one of the things that's also true is that, as a neighborhood school, we serve students from all backgrounds. We absolutely do. And so part of our mission as a public school is to accept students wherever they're at. And unfortunately, what you see on that piece of the grade schools is the snapshot of what's happening from year to year. And what that does is it subtracts one cohort from another, and unfortunately not the change from one cohort from one year compared to another cohort from another year. I can get all wonky and geeky on that, but the idea is that that's something that we monitor. It's something that we look at, and that's why we do, like I said, a lot of formative assessment to know particularly what are the academic skills that our students need to be helpful at. But I'm so glad you're looking at that, because that's an important piece of this as well. Great question.
Thank you for answering.
Thank you. What's any other questions before we wrap it up today? Jessica, go ahead.
Good morning. I have an 8th grader, and I was wondering, what are some 8th grade activities that you guys will be doing this year? Do you guys do, this is our first year as well, do you guys do, I don't know, like trips and things like that?
Yeah.
I know COVID has thrown a lot of things off the past couple of years, so
yeah,
wanted to know if there's plans for that, or who do I talk to about that?
Great question. So yes, there are plans for that. Let me tell you some of the things we did last year. So last year we did a full slate of 8th grade activities. We did, we had like a couple of different dances throughout the year. We had the Six Flags Day. We had bowling a couple times. We have two of our teachers do an amazing job of helping coordinate those 8th grade activities. Miss Alejandre is probably the main one, but also Miss Casimir as well. So the history teacher and the PE teacher are really the points of contact on that. So just so you know, we've already met and have tentatively planned a bunch of things that we're excited about. Again, this week we've just been focused on, launching the school year, getting everybody set up and connected. And yeah. So hopefully, so the short answer is you'll get more information as we move on. But yes, there's lots of activities, and the person to contact will be Miss Alejandre or Miss Casimir. Great question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions that folks might have? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. We're going to do this every Friday. Oh, there's one more question. We'll do it. C2, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, will the school be needing donations?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So stay tuned on how to do that.
Okay. Yeah, just because, I do understand certain schools, and I do understand those smaller schools ask for more donations. So
Yep.
I kind of like to get a head start on that and
Awesome.
just to know where we are. So, I can plan accordingly with my business
Absolutely.
to get, things funded.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you so much, C2.
Needed, I would definitely like to know ahead of time if that's possible.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. And look for that in communication that I will send out. Hopefully, one more thing real quick. Make sure I think most of you already have this, but if you have not already, on our website, there is a link that says sign up for Katherine Johnson STEM Academy updates. I'm going to put the link right here in the chat as well. It's right there. If you've not done that already, make sure you do. And then you'll get my updates that way as well. But we do things all sorts of different ways through the MailChimp, but also through the ClassDojo and Blackboard, which is how you found out about this. Yeah. Okay. I want to say thank you, everyone. It's great seeing folks who are returning. It's great seeing new folks as well. I wish you a happy Friday, a wonderful weekend, and we'll see everybody on Monday. Bye-bye.
Thank you.